Mets offered Kyle Tucker $50 million a year. Yeah, that's what we're hearing. Robert Murray coming out, dropping an absolute banger right after Will Salmon earlier in the day gave us a banger that the Mets were offering Kyle Tucker around 3 years, $120 to $140 million. Robert Murray comes out and says it's more like $50 million a year. So we can kind of just do the math. 3 for $150 seems to be the offer from the Mets to Kyle Tucker. That's crazy. Mets they're playing ball. They're getting ready. This could be a player that the Mets see on their roster at some point. I know you're a little hesitant, James, but I'm going to be the optimistic guy and be very excited about this.
Yeah, I'm way more skeptical just for the fact that we're getting so many crumbs. Like, we're not even getting crumbs. Like, we're getting pieces of bread, like, out and about the Mets going after Kyle Tucker. Like, how often when you get these kinds of big media hints and clues is that actually what happens, truthfully?
All I'm saying is I was so insanely optimistic about Juan Soto all offseason. I saw you be wishy-washy, back and forth, hopping on and off the fence, whether he's going to be a Met. Stick with it. Kyle Tucker is going to be a New York Met. I'm putting my stamp on it. And the reason I think the crumbs are not a bad thing, I think similarly to a lot of other negotiations, is one, I think if this was another team, you might be feeling differently about the crumbs. But two, I think that this is kind of like the, hey, this is the best offer we've got. Anybody else going to beat this? If not, Kyle Tucker might not really have a choice but to take that. It is an incredible offer still.
Oh, it is. This is a blatant leak from probably the player's side, if I had to guess, just because you're like, hey, I don't really want to take this offer. Can someone beat this offer? And it also comes on the heels of Ken Rosenthal on Fair Territory. I believe that was Monday. It was January 12th. Kind of throwing cold water on the fact that the Blue Jays want to add another impact player. And the Blue Jays have had the most active free agency period of any team in the league after losing the World Series by an eighth of an inch. And then they spent a lot of money. And then basically after they signed Kazuma Okamoto, it was like, oh, Ken Rosenthal basically said the lineup is full. He doesn't really see them making a huge addition. Blue Jays fans are freaking out. But like, what motive does Ken Rosenthal have to not report the truth?
Yeah, I mean, I trust Ken. He's part of the circle of trust of guys where when I hear things, I believe it. It's the Dodgers are truly the team that scares me the most. And
that's the one.
That's the one. And at some point, they probably can't keep spending unlimited amounts of money. But also at the same time, why can't they? Because they make ungodly amounts every single year, and it doesn't seem to really matter. Kyle Tucker definitely probably wants more years. I think that's what it is. I think the AAV, it's going to be around $50 million for whatever the years are going to be eventually when he signs. I can't see it going above 5, but I don't think that 3 will be the final spot. Like, I think it might be, I texted you, I said 3 for 150 gets it done. Might be more like 4 for 200.
I was going to say clearly not. I think the reason that this 3 for 150 is even out there and the Mets are comfortable doing it because they can go, hey, this is the only place you're getting $50 million a year.
Yes.
Like, if you want to make $36 million a year for 7 years, like, sure, you can go do that. You'll be over $220 million. Like, that's all good and well, even more than that. But this might be, if you want a really big, shiny number, I wonder also how much this comes back to. How soon can you get on the market again? Like, how soon can a guy like Kyle Tucker, who's coming off 2 kind of wonky years, where he's still one of the 10 best hitters in baseball. We'll talk about that as we get through a little bit. We have been talking about that for like a month straight on this show, and some people still don't believe it. But like, could there be a world where this is the unprecedented, I guess similar to what Bregman happened last year? You have an opt-out after 1.
That's what I was going to say, is surely an opt-out's coming with this. I can't imagine that any short-term deal has no opt-outs. I would be shocked.
It has to, but that is in free agents past, the whole debate and the competition's always how much money, how many years can we offer? Where this might be the inverse of that, ironically. Yes. How few years is the team willing to accept? It's probably what happened with Tatsuya Imai with the Astros, where it's like, I'm sure no one else offered him a 1-year deal. That was a bit of a desperation play by the Astros, and they needed the pitcher, so again, works out for both sides, but this also could be a desperation play by the Mets. Like, we want a really big bat in this lineup this year. This is the biggest bat.
We'll also tell you, too, that, like, let's just pretend there are no opt-outs, right? A 3-year deal puts Kyle Tucker back on the free agent market going 32. Into his 32-year-old season. So that would be what, 2028 would be when he becomes after the 2028 season? So 2029, he'd be in his 32-year-old season. That's not a bad place either for him to be if he were to hit free agency again. It's not as advantageous as it is right now. But if Kyle Tucker were to ball out for 3 years, which is 100% in the realm of possibility, he's not going to get the mega contract, but he will probably sign a contract to the end of his career for pretty good money. And he might come out of it with more money total if he goes this route than if he were to go longer term right now.
Kind of, but like how much money are you making as a 32-year-old? You're even at that
George
time.
Springer made like $150 million.
Exactly. I guess he could make $250 million, Kyle Tucker, at that point. But just even spitballing, like I do wonder. There was that leak that came out like a week ago that we talked about privately, didn't make it out to here. That we don't. This was not verified. We won't chase it. But like that, there was a willingness to go 7. I don't know if the Mets have a willingness to go 7. Truthfully,
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think the only team that was willing to go 7 was the Blue Jays, but maybe they want to push down AAV now because of how high they're spending. Again, like
7's such an awkward number for him too. It's like you're gonna hit the free agency at like 35. Like you're never gonna get a good contract at that point.
I mean, the Lindor extension runs to 37. It's kind of similar, where it's like
that goes out to be one of the best contracts ever.
No, it's a tremendous contract. I do just wonder where the Dodgers and Blue Jays are, because again, I can't get away from the fact that this is a big blinking light. Someone offer more or better deal.
Of course, it's 100% coming from them, but at the same time, this isn't a bad deal. So that's why I think there's no risk from them, from Kyle Tucker's side, to be like, this is the offer we got. It seems like the Mets, like if we get nothing else, we'll sign 3 for $150. We're going to be happy. It's not the perfect deal, but at the same time, again, there's got to be an opt-out. There 100% is. If it's not after 1, there's going to be after 2 years. Still has a chance to go hit the market at 30, 31 and make some serious money again, especially if he stays healthy and balls out like he can.
There's also a good thing for us Mets fans knowing that there seems to be consistent dialogue just from the fact that early in the afternoon, Will Salmon reported the 3 years in the $120 to $140 million range. And then like an hour and a half later, Robert Murray confirmed a 3-year, $50 million AAV. So there's conversations happening. And as we record this on January 13th, I want to congratulate Kyle and Samantha Tucker on their 2nd wedding anniversary. It's a big day for the family right there. Kyle's birthday is also this coming Saturday.
We're gonna be celebrating my birthday on his birthday. Maybe little come together. Come meet us at the bar, Kyle Tucker and your wife, after you sign in Queens with the Mets. Come hang out. I'll celebrate my birthday. You can do your anniversary and your birthday as well.
If we can get me, you, Kyle Tucker hanging out in Williamsburg, that would be an all-time Mets up night.
I think that would be a great way to celebrate my 30th.
Oh, one of the best ways I could possibly imagine celebrating your 30th. And my 30th next month, we trade for Freddie Peralta. That'd be perfect. But it's just, I wonder how realistic this is. I really do.
I think it's way more realistic than you're giving it credit for. $50 million AAV, 4 years, 200 is insane. That's absolutely nuts. The only way I see a team going that long again is going to be if there's opt-outs, and maybe the reason why they would win is like maybe one of those years is like $53 million after the opt-out, and the contract is more front-loaded than back-loaded. It's just. I don't know how you beat the 50 AAV. And if there's an opt-out, you probably can't beat it.
Maybe the only way to beat it is a team like the Dodgers, who already signed a player, Edwin Diaz, with a qualifying offer, and you have slightly lower qualifying offer penalties, and you're like, all right, 1 year, who cares?
Yeah.
Like you do what the Red Sox just did, and with Alex Bregman, which completely backfired on them, or kind of what the Cubs just did with Kyle Tucker. Where are the Cubs? Why aren't the Cubs offering him a 1 year deal?
Well, they got Alex Bregman, so
I guess they're not allowed to go over the luxury tax, but still, it's like it seems like you easily could have had Kyle Tucker for 1 more year, very easily.
There's also again, he fits in the Blue Jays, he fits in the Dodgers. There's no issues with them anywhere. It seems like the Blue Jays, maybe if any of the team, probably the least likely, just because they, like you mentioned with Rosenthal in this line, like they are kind of set with their roster. Like there would have to be subsequent moves that follow to get that 26-man roster down to like a more attainable size. It's not a problem. I think they'd be happy to do so. But maybe for the Blue Jays as well, for spending all that extra money, they don't value Kyle Tucker as that much of a needle mover based on what already they have, where they could put that money towards other positions. Is that a possibility?
It's a light possibility. They also just, I don't know, there might be something about, I'm really grasping at straws here. Might be something about like not wanting to send a guy who played a huge role for you in a major playoff run like Nathan Lucas down to the minor leagues at 32 years old to begin the season. You know what I mean? Like, is that a weird look for other guys in the room? I understand it's probably fine because you're getting Kyle Tucker. Yeah. Doesn't matter. But like, there's probably a lot of regret from the Blue Jays about having Anthony Santander on their roster. I think that's the one where you kick yourself right now, which is why you shouldn't just blindly go out and sign every single free agent you could possibly find. But it really just feels like the Mets and Dodgers. I feel like the Mets have the most motivation to actually get this done.
And as perfect as he fits into the he fits perfectly into the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's crazy how good he fits there. They have to stop spending at some point, right? They have to. They have to. Please tell me they have to.
I think so. And like the how perfect he fits on the Dodgers, it is. I mean, now you want to really see me grasp at straws. It's a very left-handed hitting lineup.
There
I don't
you go.
know. There
Right.
might be a little imbalance.
No
there
balance.
for Kyle Tucker. You can't have that balance. And they could also acquiesce this pretty easily. you just probably send down Alex Call, or just you trade Alex Call for an
Cut him.
18-year-old pitcher somewhere, and then that's perfect spot. Andy Pages. But then it's also funny, they'd be sending a guy in Andy Pages who, I know he had a bad postseason, but he was like a 4-win player last year. You sent him to the bench at 25 years old, or then
he'd play center, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I guess he could play center, and you can move Edman back to second, put Hyun Kim
Tommy
down
Edman
wherever.
sucks too, so like
it's Pages probably not the guy that goes in the bench. It's just it's weird that it hasn't been more competitive, and I think that also speaks to the strangeness of Kyle Tucker's profile. Honestly, I think that's kind of where it's nice that the Mets are honestly pushing some chips in for a guy that is very good, is slightly flawed, has some weird stuff that's happened the last few years, but he's the biggest lightning rod available.
Hey, make good eats at home part of your 2026 New Year's resolution. HelloFresh is what we're talking about here.
Steak, seafood, whatever options you want. They have stone fruit to corn on the cob. Scott, I know you're a big stone fruit fan. But
Hey, you've eaten it all.
I have. I've tried a lot of things, but HelloFresh always delivers. They're fresh, delicious meals that you get to cook. So you feel like you actually accomplished something when you eat them after you're done cooking them.
Over 100 mouth-watering recipes each week. It's made with wholesome ingredients like 100% antibiotic and hormone-free chicken, because when dinner tastes this good, nothing hits like home cooking. Go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free Zwilling knife, a $144.99 value on your third box. Offer valid while supplies last. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. Get America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh.
And that's the other thing to me too, again, where there's smoke, there's fire. We haven't heard about any other teams really meeting with Kyle Tucker. We've been hearing about the Mets pushing it forward.
For teams in play.
Teams are in play, but in terms of like formal meetings, we haven't really heard. There's not much smoke with these other teams besides the idea that they're interested. Where the Mets they're like, it's out there. We know what the Mets are doing. The Mets have now set the market for Kyle Tucker. Are you going to beat it? I like the position the Mets are in. I think it's quite advantageous. I'd give them 50% chance to get Kyle Tucker.
That's the official Mark Lomino prediction, 50%?
I'll say 51, and then we'll split the 49% between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, going Dodgers 2, Blue Jays 3.
That's big time. I think that, I don't know. I'd be shocked if the 3 for 150 is what gets it done at this point. Because like you still get left in no man's land if you're Kyle Tucker. Like I think the best case scenario for him at this point, because I don't think any of these teams are giving him any opportunity for 1 year to opt out. I just think that's.
I think they will.
I think it's a complete non-starter for a guy that you're giving up qualifying offer penalties for. Even someone as good as Kyle Tucker, just from a business standpoint.
The two organizations that could, because their farm system is so loaded, is the Dodgers and the Mets. Those are two of the best farm systems in baseball. Both of them have guys at the major league level right now. If there was ever a time for them to be able, I mean, Mets just did it with Soto last year too, but like
only one ever though.
Yeah, I know, only one
Not
ever.
ever. 5 years.
In the 5 years, but there also haven't been that many guys the Mets have been interested in for those same conversations as well. So like, I think that both of those teams, to get your guy, to get Kyle Tucker, who is again one of the best hitters in baseball, despite what people want to look at underneath the hood. The stats aren't lying, like in terms of the rates. He's been one of the best in baseball over the last 3-4 years.
I mean, under the hood's really good too.
I know. But people are like, oh, he doesn't swing the bat hard, or he doesn't have the hardest exit velos, which is fine, but he still does absolutely mash.
Well, all of those risk is mitigated by a 3-year contract. Like I just that
exactly.
2-year contract. I have no doubt whatsoever that he's going to be one of the 10 best hitters in baseball over the next 3 to 5 years. Like that's not the issue with the Kyle Tucker deal at the outset of the offseason was like years 9, 10, 11, 12.
Sure, that's always the problem.
What 38-year-old Kyle Tucker looks like. But that's like all right.
Can't worry about it. Yeah.
No, for sure. But that was like you do to do that type of nitpicking when you're signing a 12-year deal. If you're not signing a 12-year deal, it's like okay, who cares?
Yeah. Luckily for the Mets, it doesn't seem like they're going to. It's like if you want to play for us, it's gonna be 3 years.
And I do wonder where the other teams are with their offers. Like, do we even have anything concrete about meetings, about interest? Like, it just these 3 teams, the Mets, the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers, have continued to be linked. But there hasn't really. This is the first day we've had real, true, concrete stuff going on.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm like it's Mets. It's all Mets. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I need you to believe, James. I need you to believe that the Mets are going to get Kyle Tucker because I'm so in. I think that there's a good chance.
This is going to sound so ass backwards. I believe more until this whole flurry on Tuesday.
Boring.
This is what killed. This is just like this to me is like I don't want to be a Met, but I might have to be. So someone save me.
Yes, I think that just might be you being a little pessimistic. I don't want to be a Met. There's no indication of that. I think if you are doing any sort of business, I'm sure David Stearns and the Mets said, Kyle, Go see if you can get a better offer. If you can, go take it. Like,
Yeah.
3 for 150 is probably the best that you're going to get in terms of value and what you could get after this contract's up. I think it's good business for Kyle Tucker's camp to be like, anybody got anything else? Like,
Anybody?
I think at this point, too, like, this could even signal some teams that we haven't considered to be in. Not necessarily thinking that the Phillies or the Yankees, again, because we know that it makes a ton of sense for those guys. But this could maybe even be a sign like, this is what we are getting. This is our market. It's probably a little more attainable for a lot more teams, as crazy as it sounds, to give 3 for 150 than the long-term contract.
Yes and no, just because I think the Mets and the Dodgers and probably the Blue Jays, which is why these are 3 teams involved, are the 3 teams in the league with the most willingness to far exceed the luxury tax. Like, especially the Mets and the Dodgers. These are the teams that just pay those penalties and are fine with it. Like, the Yankees, just as much money as we know they have been less. Yeah, I mean, they still have it. It's just not choosing to spend it. Like, these are the teams that are the most willing to go into that. They're the most willing to take on that kind of incredible financial investment. Like, this is basically paying Kyle Tucker $100 million a year, which is
insane,
obscene to think about. But
God, I love having money as the Mets. It's such a cool thing now.
I was saying, this is a sick thing that we can do. Like, we're like, yeah, we can take that on. Don't worry about it. Luxury tax, fine, no biggie. Like, you get Kyle Tucker. Will Salmon said this, not even verbatim, word for word, last week when he came on. It's like you're a World Series contender again, and literally. You are if you're the Mets. Like, this is. You'd now have the second best lineup in the National League, and you'd be one pitcher away. And we know there's still some pitchers available from having a rotation that can definitely drag you through a playoff race.
I'm so excited. This is got my juices flowing.
You think there was a conversation between Kyle Tucker and Pete Alonso yet?
I don't know. I know they both went to the same high school. Pete's
like 2 years apart.
Pete's older than Tucker.
1 year?
I think 2, because Tucker's like 28, turned 29.
And Pete's turning 31.
Turning 31 or is 31, so there's probably a 2-year difference with those guys.
They were guaranteed on the same baseball team at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Man, what a baseball team that must have been, by the way. Pete Alonso, Kyle Tucker on the same roster. That's absolutely crazy.
Right, but I mean, I wonder if that's like a weird part of this, where it's like imagine like how much Pete Alonso's whatever he says about the Mets, how much weight that could be holding right now if that call was made.
Does Pete even have anything bad to say? They just didn't give him.
No,
more
I'm sure
money.
not. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure Pete was like, "Yeah, Mets are great. I love Steve and Alex Cohen."
Also, so like Kyle Tucker asking Pete, like, "Hey, you were just there. They didn't want to give you that for 5 years. They want to give it to me for 3. Thoughts?"
Yeah, it was like, cool, dude. Take the money.
That might be a tough conversation to have with Pete.
Might move into his apartment.
Swap spots.
Yeah, right. I mean, that could be happening. It's funny, all these little tiny things that are at play right now. It's just, I wonder if the only way that they can get him is a 1-year deal. I wonder if they do it.
Who, the Mets?
Yeah,
or
anybody.
Well, so then that's the opt out.
A 1-year opt out. I think a 2-year opt out's almost guaranteed, and I think the 3 years is just holding a 2-year opt out. So really, that becomes a 2-year, $100 million.
The 3 year is the insurance if you like get hurt or have a bad season.
Yeah, which is again good for the player. And I do wonder if I'm sure right now, like they're saying, like if you give us the 1 year, we're signing today.
Probably.
I just think that you're probably holding that line. Like I want you for 2 years at least, please.
Could you imagine how funny it would be? It's like Kyle Tucker signs a 1 year, $50 million contract.
No, but it is funny. Again, I'd be like, where are the Cubs right now? But
where's everyone in baseball?
Teams don't want to spend the 100%, 110% tax rate. That's exactly what this is. Like the Guardians aren't coming up and buying. The Guardians are a team that should be involved right now. If you tell the Guardians you can get 1 year,
they'd get what, close to $200 million if they actually did that for once in their life.
$200 million. I think they're under 100 right now.
Cleveland is 117, I think.
Okay, yeah, jeez.
Get them right to 160, and they'd be right in the middle of the pack.
18th, yeah.
They'd be the 18th highest spender in baseball still.
Yeah, I mean, like teams like the Phillies. But then the fact that there's been no connection whatsoever to any team besides the Mets, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays. Ken Rosenthal throws a good bit of cold water on the Blue Jays on Monday. The Mets come with heavy offers on Tuesday. Seems like he just wants to be a Dodger. If they're willing to do the 1 year YOLO contract.
Don't say that. Happens. I don't think No, this is good business. This is capitalism. I got money. Who can do better? You should always go out and try and get a better deal. And that's what he's doing.
But there's also the element of, like, you don't want to push a team off that's offering you $50 million a year. You know what I mean?
I got a pretty good feeling that the Mets knew that Kyle Tucker's camp was going to be like, here's what the Mets offered us. Because that's the only way that this is out there.
It also does echo what everybody's saying. This probably gets resolved kind of soon.
It feels like it's going to happen right as I sit down for my birthday dinner on Thursday. That's going to be the worst timing ever.
I think the latest we'll get this is like January 21st.
That seems like almost impossibly long.
It's the latest.
January?
That's my line.
Today's the 13th, so it would be next Wednesday is your line. I will take the under. I think it is.
I don't think that's not the line.
I think it's before Kyle Tucker's birthday. Before January 17th and a half.
before Saturday, before we celebrate your birthday.
Yes.
before the Bills and the Broncos kick off at 4 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, it has to be signed.
Okay.
And it's going to be with the New York Mets. I'm delusional. I'm all in. I'm drinking it.
God, if he signs to the Mets, I'll be jacked up. I'll be so excited.
I want to know your guys' opinions down in the comment section below. Do you think he's going to sign with the Mets? Where do you think he goes? Are you like James, too many crumbs, or are you like me, where there's smoke, there's fire? Love to hear your guys' opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to Mets'd on YouTube as well as on audio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Go Mets.